My child, do not scroll past this. Stop exactly where you are and listen closely to my voice. This is not an accident. I have guided you here in this exact moment because you are standing on the edge of a cliff and you do not even realize it. I know you are tired. I know you are exhausted from the relentless hustle, the endless running, the crushing pressure to survive in a world that demands absolutely everything from you. I see you sitting there, carrying the weight of the entire world on your shoulders. I see the deep exhaustion in your eyes, the kind of heavy fatigue that a weekend of sleep cannot fix. I know about the unpaid bills, the financial stress, the constant calculating in your head, just trying to figure out how you will make it to the end of the month. You are living paycheck to paycheck, running a race that feels like it has no finish line, and tonight, I know you have hit your breaking point. You thought I was silent today. You thought I was ignoring your desperate prayers because that door you so desperately wanted to walk through was suddenly slammed in your face. You wept because the opportunity you thought was your grand breakthrough vanished into thin air. You asked me why I let your plans fall apart. But I am coming to you tonight with a heart full of unconditional love and a severe mercy. This is my last warning to you. Stop trying to kick down the door I just locked to save your life. Stop fighting me when I am trying to rescue you. I have kept you safe from an absolute disaster tonight. The tears you cried today were for a blessing that was actually a hidden trap. You look at the people around you, you see their highlight reels, their perfect lives, their rapid promotions, and you feel a terrible pain in your chest. You feel like you are falling behind in life. You feel the crushing weight of modern expectations, telling you that you are not doing enough, you are not earning enough, you are simply not enough. You convinced yourself that if you just worked a little harder, if you just sacrificed a little more of your mental peace, you would finally reach that American dream. But the specific path you were begging me to bless was leading you straight into a dark wilderness of burnout, extreme isolation, and spiritual decay. I see the toxic environment you were willing to tolerate just for a steady paycheck. I see the deeply unhealthy situations you tried to hold on to because you are terrified of starting over. I saw the hidden clauses, the unspoken demands, the toxic people, and the slow but certain destruction of your spirit that was waiting for you right behind that door you wanted so badly. I am your loving Father, and I will never give you a stone when you ask for bread, even if that stone looks shiny, perfect, and appealing from the outside. I had to step in. I had to let your carefully crafted plan fail so that my divine purpose for you could prevail. The sudden rejection you experienced today was not a punishment from heaven. It was a divine interception. It was my powerful hand of protection covering you in the dark. You are grieving a heavy loss right now, but heaven is celebrating a massive rescue. I know the endless pursuit of success has sometimes felt like a heavy nightmare for you. The constant comparison, the severe anxiety that wakes you up at 3 in the morning, the tragic feeling that you are just a machine producing results rather than a beloved human being with a soul. I did not create you to live in a perpetual state of panic and fear. I did not form you in your mother's womb so you could spend your entire precious life paying off endless debts and trying to please people who do not even care about your heart. I have called you to a life of profound peace, a peace that surpasses all human understanding, a peace that the corporate world cannot ever give you and cannot ever take away. Do not be angry with me for protecting you. Take a deep breath right now. Release the harsh tension in your jaw, let your heavy shoulders drop, and completely surrender your fierce grip on the steering wheel of your life. You have been driving yourself into a state of total exhaustion, desperately trying to control every single outcome, trying to fix every massive problem with your own limited human strength. But you are running on empty. You cannot see the elaborate traps laid out before you in the spiritual realm. The enemy desperately wanted to use your natural ambition, your intense fear of failure, and your crippling financial anxiety to pull you into an environment that would eventually destroy your beautiful character and break your spirit. But I said no. I drew a firm line in the sand tonight and declared that my beloved child will not be handed over to the storm. I know you are deeply worried about your future. I know the numbers in your bank account look frightening, and the calendar is full of looming deadlines that make your chest feel unbearably tight. But I want you to look at the birds of the air. They do not sow or reap or store away in barns, and yet I feed them every single day. Are you not much more valuable than they are? Why do you doubt my perfect provision? The door I closed today was blocking the true path I have meticulously prepared for you. I am shifting the very foundation of your reality right now. I am violently removing the toxic soil from your life so that your roots can finally drink from the living water. You must trust me in this very uncomfortable transition. You must praise me for the closed doors, just as loudly and passionately as you praise me for the open ones. You truly thought I was ignoring your tears when that door slammed shut. But if you knew what was waiting behind it, you would fall on your knees right now and weep with overwhelming gratitude. I intercepted the deadly arrow that was flying toward you in the dark. But listen to me carefully. The disaster I saved you from today was only the first external trap. There is a much deeper healing we must do tonight. You have been bleeding in silence, pretending you are perfectly fine, wearing a heavy mask of strength, while your soul feels like it is quietly collapsing. I am about to reveal the hidden internal chains that have been holding you back for years. I am going to show you exactly why you have been feeling so paralyzed, and exactly how I am going to pull you out of this dark valley. Let me show you what I saw, and prepare your heart for the massive revelation that is coming next. Let me pull back the heavy curtain right now, and show you exactly what was waiting behind that closed door. You have been praying so hard for a breakthrough, and you honestly believed that specific opportunity was your final answer. You looked at the salary, the prestige, the shiny surface of that situation, and you told yourself that this was finally your way out of the struggle. You thought that climbing that specific corporate ladder was going to bring you the respect, the security, and the peace you have been desperately craving for years. But let me tell you what I saw from my throne in heaven. I saw a beautifully decorated trap. I saw a system designed to entirely consume your soul and drain your light. There is a way that seems incredibly right to your human eyes. It looks like success. It looks like the ultimate American dream. But its end is a graveyard of broken minds and shattered families. You have been heavily influenced by a modern culture that glorifies severe exhaustion. You wake up early, you rush through aggressive traffic, you live on caffeine and sheer anxiety, and you stare at glowing screens for hours just to prove your worth to people who would replace you in a single week if you fell apart. You constantly scroll through your phone, looking at the carefully filtered highlight reels of everyone else. You see their rapid promotions, their new houses, their seemingly perfect vacations, and it makes you feel so incredibly small. It makes your chest tight, with a panic that you are somehow failing at life. It makes you willing to trade your own mental health for a fancy title on a business card. But I did not breathe my divine, eternal life into your lungs, so you could become a miserable slave to a system that does not care about your heart. You were so willing to walk directly into a highly toxic environment today, simply because the fear of falling behind was much louder than my gentle voice. I read the hidden clauses of that opportunity that you could not see. I saw the manipulative people waiting to drain your energy. I saw the unreasonable demands that would have stolen your weekends, your evenings, and your peace of mind. If I had answered your prayer and let you walk through that door, within 6 short months, you would have completely lost your identity. You would be waking up every single morning with a heavy dread in your stomach, crying alone in your car, before walking into a building that suffocates your spirit. You would have gained the money you thought you needed, but you would have lost your joy, your health, and your precious connection with me. Do you understand this now? Rejection is my divine protection. I will happily break your heart today, if it means I can save your soul tomorrow. Why are you sitting there crying over a prison cell just because the bars were painted gold? Stop staring at the door I just locked. Stop mourning a loss that was actually a miraculous rescue. The enemy is incredibly subtle. He rarely tempts you with obvious evil. Instead, he tempts you with a good opportunity that will distract you from my great purpose for your life. He knew you were tired of struggling financially, so he dangled a counterfeit blessing right in front of your face, hoping you would grab it and step entirely out of my protective covering. But I am a jealous father. I love you too much to let you settle for a miserable imitation of my best. I know the exact number of hairs on your head. I know the secret dreams you whisper into your pillow late at night. I know you want to feel secure, and I promise you that true security is coming. But it will never come from a job, a bank account, or another human being. It will only come from fully leaning on my everlasting arms. I am tearing down your reliance on the false American dream so I can build a kingdom legacy inside of you. I am removing your attachment to worldly validation so you can finally hear how loudly heaven is cheering for you. The disaster of the wrong path has been completely averted tonight. I stepped in. I altered the timeline, and you are entirely safe from that external destruction. But listen to me very carefully right now. The external trap has been dismantled, but we are not finished yet. While I have protected you from the storm outside, we desperately need to talk about what is happening inside your own mind. You survived the day, but you are bleeding from a deep wound you absolutely refuse to show anyone. You smile at your friends. You tell your family you are doing fine, but I hear the silent screams of your soul when you are totally alone in the dark. The external crisis is over, but a silent collapse is happening inside you right now. I am about to touch a hidden pain you have kept buried for years, and I need you to be brave. Keep listening, because the true healing is about to begin. You have built a massive fortress around your heart, and from the outside, you look incredibly strong. You are the person everyone else comes to for advice. You are the one holding your family together, the one smiling at work, the one sending text messages saying you are perfectly fine. But I see what happens when you finally come home, close your door, and the deafening silence of the evening surrounds you. You live in a busy world surrounded by thousands of people, yet you have never felt more completely isolated in your entire life. You sit in your room staring at the wall, feeling a crushing emptiness that secretly terrifies you. You are experiencing a silent collapse, a deep emotional bankruptcy that no amount of money or career success could ever fix. I know about the tears you hide in the shower so nobody can hear you weep. I know how heavily your chest physically aches when you wake up in the morning, dreading the thought of putting on that heavy mask for another 24 hours. You are absolutely exhausted from pretending to be okay. You are running on empty fumes, terrified that if you drop the ball for even one single second, everyone will abandon you. This intense fear of isolation has forced you to hold on to toxic relationships and one-sided friendships. You allow people to drain your precious energy because you convinced yourself that accepting their emotional neglect is somehow better than being completely alone. But hear my voice clearly right now. That is a vicious lie from the enemy, designed to keep you chained to a miserable version of your destiny. I am the Lord who heals, and I am telling you tonight that your silent suffering is over. You are not invisible to me. Every single time you felt overlooked by the world, I was standing right beside you, collecting every tear you shed in the dark. The book of Psalms, chapter 34, promises that I am close to the brokenhearted, and I save those who are crushed in spirit. That is not just a beautiful ancient poem. That is a living, breathing reality, and it is happening in your room at this very second. I am stepping into your profound loneliness tonight, to remind you that you carry the Spirit of the living God inside you. You are never actually alone. The heavy burden of keeping everyone else happy is not yours to carry anymore. I did not ask you to be the savior of your family, or the emotional dumping ground for your friends. I asked you to be my beloved child. The real disaster was never just about losing a job or facing financial ruin. The ultimate disaster would be losing your beautiful soul to the crushing weight of a society that does not know how to love you properly. You have been giving away precious pieces of yourself to people and places that do not even value your presence. You have compromised your own boundaries just to keep the peace in rooms where you were secretly falling apart. Stop doing this to yourself. Stop setting yourself on fire just to keep other people warm. I am breathing fresh, divine oxygen into your lungs tonight. I am actively restoring the mental clarity and the deep emotional peace that the enemy tried to steal from you through years of silent stress and unspoken trauma. Take a deep breath and let my healing presence wrap around you like a heavy, warm blanket. Feel the severe tension leaving your neck and your shoulders. You do not have to be strong for anyone right now. You just have to be honest with me. Tell me how badly it hurts. Tell me how tired you are of fighting battles in your mind that nobody else knows about. I am here to carry the weight you can no longer bear. I am healing the deep wounds of rejection and the bitter sting of betrayal that have made you so defensive and afraid to trust again. But pay very close attention to what I am about to say next. You have been bleeding in silence for far too long. Tonight, I step in to stop the bleeding, but to be completely healed. You must absolutely let go of one specific thing you are desperately holding on to. If you step outside tomorrow and try to fix this your own way, you will walk right over a dangerous cliff. Stand entirely still, and let me show you the critical mistake you are about to make. You are standing on the very edge of a dangerous cliff right now. The critical mistake you are about to make tomorrow morning is born entirely out of sheer panic. I know what you are planning to do in your head. I see the desperate calculations you are making to try and fix this sudden financial hole. You are terrified about the mortgage, the rent, and the bills that are piling up on your kitchen counter. Because that door closed today, you feel a massive wave of anxiety threatening to drown you, and your immediate human reaction is to take full control. You are actively thinking about reaching for that credit card to maintain the illusion of stability. You are contemplating taking on a heavy toxic debt, or making a wildly impulsive decision just to buy yourself a little more time. You are trying to patch a deep spiritual crisis with temporary earthly bandages. Stop right there. Do not take another step in that direction. I see the deep shame you are trying to hide from your family and your friends. You are absolutely terrified of having to admit that things are not perfectly fine. You live in a society that constantly measures your value by your material possessions, the car you drive, the neighborhood you live in, and the vacations you post for everyone to see. When the money runs low, the enemy immediately attacks your sense of self-worth. He whispers vicious lies into your ear, telling you that you are a massive failure, that you have let everyone down, and that you will never recover from this sudden setback. Those lies are exactly what is driving your current panic. You are not trying to solve a financial problem anymore. You are frantically trying to buy back your dignity. You are reaching for dangerous financial lifelines, considering loans with terrible terms, and thinking about mortgaging your future just to save face in the present. If you try to fix this massive problem with your own limited strength, you will only dig a much deeper grave for your future. The culture you live in has taught you to hustle your way out of every crisis, to borrow against your own peace of mind, and to sacrifice your core values just to survive the month. You are so afraid of losing the things you have built that you are willing to make a desperate deal that will cost you your ultimate freedom. I watch so many of my children willingly walk into modern slavery. They become total slaves to their credit cards, slaves to their massive mortgages, and slaves to the crushing opinions of other people. They trade the profound peace of heaven for a temporary feeling of earthly security. But I am telling you tonight that you cannot borrow your way out of a divine transition. You cannot hustle your way through a wilderness that I specifically designed to purify your heart. I am actively stripping away your reliance on the world so you can finally learn how to rely entirely on me. The book of Proverbs, chapter 3, gives you a very clear command for this exact moment. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and do not lean on your own understanding. Your understanding is currently clouded by severe fear. Your mind is exhausted, heavily influenced by the loud screaming anxiety of the American culture that tells you your worth is permanently tied to your credit score and your bank account balance. But I am your ultimate provider. I own the cattle on 1,000 hills. Do you honestly believe I brought you this far just to let you completely fail and lose everything? Do you think I closed that toxic door today just to leave you starving in the dark? Look at your hands right now. You are gripping the steering wheel of your life so tightly that your knuckles are turning white. You are exhausted from trying to manipulate circumstances, trying to force closed doors to open, and trying to stretch your limited resources to cover impossible demands. I need you to completely let go. I need you to step away from the edge of that cliff tonight. I know the numbers do not make any logical sense right now. I know that looking at your current situation through human eyes brings absolutely nothing but pure panic. You are doing the math over and over again in your head, and the outcome always equals total disaster. But you are leaving out the most crucial equation. You are leaving out the creator of the universe. I operate in the realm of the impossible. I specialize in parting the massive red seas of your life, exactly when the enemy thinks he has you completely cornered against the mountains. The desperate backup plan you are forming in your mind right now is not from me. It is a highly destructive trap set by the enemy to keep you chained to a heavy cycle of financial anxiety and severe spiritual exhaustion. The enemy wants you to panic tonight. He wants you to act impulsively tomorrow morning. He desperately wants you to fix this your own way, so you will not see the miraculous provision I have already set in motion. You are my deeply beloved child, and I am issuing a strict but incredibly loving command to your spirit tonight. Do not send that desperate message. Do not sign that heavy agreement. Do not borrow from your future to pay for your present fear. I am breaking the heavy chains of financial panic over your mind right now. I am actively silencing the loud voices of debt and deficiency that have been screaming in your ear all day long. You must surrender this heavy burden entirely to me before you close your eyes and sleep tonight. I am fighting massive battles for you in the spiritual realm that you cannot even comprehend. But there is a crucial condition to my miraculous intervention. If you step outside tomorrow and take matters into your own exhausted hands, you will step completely out of the covering I have placed over you. Stand absolutely still, do not move. I have already dispatched the massive provision you need, but it is arriving from a direction you would never expect. Keep your eyes entirely on me, because what I am about to reveal will change the trajectory of your entire life. You are looking at your current situation and calling it a massive failure. You see the barren landscape around you, the lack of immediate progress, the deafening silence to your urgent prayers, and you have convinced yourself that I have completely abandoned you. You scroll through your phone and watch everyone else moving forward. You watch your friends buying beautiful homes, celebrating big promotions, getting married, and building their perfect families. Meanwhile, you feel like you are standing completely still in a barren desert. You feel a heavy, crushing panic in your chest, a deep fear that you are missing out on your own life. You live in a culture that worships speed. You are surrounded by a society that demands instant gratification and immediate results. When you do not achieve massive success by a certain age, the world tries to brand you as a failure. You sit in your car after a long day of exhausting work, completely drained, and you wonder why your life looks nothing like the dreams you had when you were younger. You feel this intense midlife panic settling into your bones. You look at the calendar, and you feel like time is running out. You see your peers taking luxury vacations, securing powerful job titles, and you feel a sickening knot of jealousy and despair in your stomach. You ask me why they get to walk in the sunshine while you are stuck wandering in the dark. But I need to completely redefine this season for you right now. You are not falling behind. You are not forgotten. And you are absolutely not being punished. You are in the wilderness. My kingdom does not operate on the frantic timeline of modern human culture. Do you understand what actually happens in the wilderness? The wilderness is not a place of death. It is the sacred place of divine preparation. You feel like you have been buried alive under the heavy weight of disappointment. But I am telling you tonight that you have not been buried. You have been planted. A seed must sit in the absolute darkness of the soil before it can ever break through to the light. I have hidden you in this quiet season on purpose. If I gave you the massive blessing you are begging for right now, with the fragile emotional state you are currently in, it would absolutely crush you. You do not have the deep roots required to sustain the heavy weight of the specific calling I have placed on your life. So I took you out of the noise. I separated you from the toxic environments and the wrong relationships so I could build your character in the dark. Let me tell you a profound spiritual truth tonight. The people you are so desperately comparing yourself to are running a completely different race. Do not envy a harvest that you do not understand. Many of the things you see shining brightly on the outside are heavily mortgaged on the inside. Many are living in a silent prison of debt, terrible stress, and broken marriages, just to maintain the illusion of having it all together. I did not design you to live a shallow life of pretend. I designed you for deep, lasting, generational impact. And anything built to last for generations requires a remarkably deep foundation. That is exactly why you have been in this waiting season for so long. The taller the building, the deeper the workers must dig into the dirt before pouring the concrete. You have been in the dirt. You have been in the messy, uncomfortable, painful process of foundational digging. Stop crying over the isolation. Stop looking backwards. Stop mourning the time you think you have wasted. Stop crying over the years the locusts have eaten, because I am the God of total restoration. In the book of Isaiah, chapter 43, I made a profound promise to my people. I told them to forget the former things and not to dwell on the past. I declared that I am doing a completely new thing. I promised that I am making a way in the absolute wilderness, and creating flowing streams in the dry wasteland. That specific promise is actively fighting for you tonight. A stream in a wasteland is a miracle that makes absolutely no logical sense. It completely defies the laws of nature. That is exactly the kind of provision I am orchestrating for you right now. I am not going to bless you through the normal, expected channels. I am going to open a door in a solid brick wall just to prove to you, and to everyone watching your life, that I am the Lord your God. You look around and see a dry, empty desert, but I am orchestrating a massive underground river of blessing that is about to burst up right exactly where you are standing. The deep frustration you feel right now is actually the heavy friction of a major spiritual upgrade. You are shedding the old version of yourself. You are shedding the version that was easily manipulated by fear, the version that constantly needed validation from broken people, the version that thought your bank account defined your worth. I know the waiting season has been incredibly brutal. I know you have spent countless nights staring at the ceiling, wondering if your faith is just a foolish illusion. I know how much it hurts to keep believing when your physical reality looks completely hopeless. But your endurance has not gone unnoticed in heaven. Every single time you chose to get out of bed when you felt completely paralyzed by depression, heaven recorded it. Every single time you chose to trust me, even when your pockets were empty and your heart was shattered, you were building an indestructible spiritual armor. You are so close to the border of your promised land. The enemy wanted you to quit right before the miracle. He wanted you to ruin the blessing by forcing a premature exit from the waiting room. But you are still here. You are still breathing. You are still listening to my voice. The harshest season of waiting is finally over. The massive shift in the spiritual realm has begun to finalize at this very hour. Now, let me hand you the blueprint of your full restoration. Listen closely to the blueprint of restoration I am handing you right now. For so long, you have built your life on the fragile and exhausting foundation of the modern hustle. You have chased profit over purpose, sacrificing your physical health and your precious family time just to climb a corporate ladder that was leaning against the wrong wall. But starting tonight, we are completely changing the architecture of your entire life. I am replacing your severe anxiety with my perfect divine strategy. I am replacing your financial panic with a profound, unshakable peace. Do you hear my voice? The bitter days of you burning yourself out for people who do not value your soul are officially over. You are going to establish firm, healthy boundaries starting tomorrow. You will no longer answer stressful emails at midnight while your family sleeps. You will no longer trade your mental health for a paycheck. You are stepping into a beautiful new season where your peace of mind is your absolute highest currency. You have been heavily conditioned by a culture that demands constant, relentless productivity. You have been taught that if you are resting, you are failing. You have felt the intense, crushing guilt of taking a single day off, terrified that someone else will take your place, or that you will fall behind on your bills. But my kingdom does not operate on extreme exhaustion. My divine economy is built on grace, not on the relentless grinding away of your physical body. I am teaching you a completely new rhythm of life. You are going to learn how to rest without feeling any guilt. You are going to learn how to confidently say no to demands that drain your spirit and steal your joy. You will look at the frantic pace of the world around you, the people aggressively climbing over each other for temporary earthly power, and you will feel absolutely no desire to join them. You will finally understand that true wealth is sitting at the dinner table with your loved ones, with a quiet mind, knowing your soul is completely intact, and your Father in heaven is fiercely protecting you. In the book of Jeremiah, chapter 29, I spoke a profound promise that was meant specifically for this exact moment in your life. I said that I know the plans I have for you. They are plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you a bright hope and a beautiful future. Read those eternal words and let them sink deep into your exhausted bones tonight. I did not say I have plans to make you struggle forever. I did not say I have plans to let you drown in crushing debt and isolation. The temporary lack you are experiencing right now is absolutely not your final destination. It is merely a temporary transition zone. I am actively working behind the scenes to restore everything the enemy tried to steal from you. I am restoring your finances, but this time, the provision will come with divine wisdom, so you are never a miserable slave to money again. I am restoring your career, but this time, it will be perfectly aligned with your true kingdom purpose, not just a desperate attempt to survive the end of the month. I need you to speak these words into the atmosphere right now. Even if your voice shakes, even if you are crying, declare this truth with me. Say it out loud. I am deeply loved by the Creator of the universe. I am fully protected from the hidden traps of the enemy. The closed doors in my life are a powerful divine shield, not a punishment. My worth is absolutely not defined by my bank account, my job title, or the harsh opinions of broken people. I have the supernatural peace of Jesus Christ flowing heavily through my mind and my body. I refuse to carry the terrible burden of tomorrow because my Heavenly Father is already there, preparing the way for me. I am permanently stepping out of the exhausting rat race and stepping entirely into divine grace. I am trading all of my human fear for His absolute power. I am completely safe in His hands. Let those powerful affirmations break the heavy iron chains off your mind right now. You have been fighting a brutal, silent war in your thoughts for years, but the ultimate victory has already been secured. I am breathing a fresh, powerful wind of restoration over your entire household. Every single area of your life that felt dead, barren, and hopeless is about to suddenly bloom. The jobs and opportunities that unfairly overlooked you will be replaced by massive blessings that specifically search for you. The financial holes that kept you awake at night in pure terror will be filled by a miraculous provision that completely defies all human logic. You simply have to trust my perfect timing and absolutely refuse to go back to the toxic environments I just rescued you from. Do not look back at the pain when I am actively leading you forward into the promise. The profound shift you have been desperately waiting for is no longer just a distant, fragile hope. It is happening right now, in this very room, exactly as you listen to the sound of my voice. I am taking the heavy keys of a brand new season of blessing and placing them directly into your hands, but listen to me very carefully. Simply having the keys is not enough. To finally open this door and walk into your absolute freedom, you and I must make one final, unbreakable covenant together tonight. The enemy will furiously try to make you doubt everything we just talked about the moment you wake up tomorrow morning. He will eagerly try to hand you back the heavy bags of financial panic and isolation. So before you close your eyes and finally go to sleep, there is one last crucial step we must take together. Keep your heart wide open, because what we do next will seal your divine protection forever. The final covenant we must make tonight is the covenant of absolute surrender. I know your mind is racing right now. You are holding your phone in the dark, and there is a very strong temptation to go back to worrying the moment this message ends. You are tempted to open your email just one more time, to check your bank account again, and to start mentally planning how you will survive tomorrow. But the covenant I am asking you to make right now is to completely turn off the loud noise of the world. Put the glowing screen down. Stop feeding your severe anxiety with the endless stream of bad news and impossible expectations. You live in a society that never sleeps, a culture that constantly demands your attention 24 hours a day, but I am commanding your spirit to rest. You have carried a massive mountain of stress today, and you are not required to carry it into tomorrow. I am standing right beside your bed tonight. I am placing my hand on your heavy chest, and I am commanding your racing heart to slow down. I am commanding your exhausted mind to completely shut off. The book of Philippians, chapter 4, declares that the peace of God, which transcends all human understanding, will intensely guard your heart and your mind. I am releasing that exact supernatural peace into your bedroom right now. It is a peace that makes absolutely no logical sense to the human brain. It is a deep, heavy tranquility that settles over you, even when the storm outside is still raging. When you look back on this specific day, years from now, you will not remember it as the day you were painfully rejected. You will remember it as the exact moment your entire life shifted into perfect divine alignment. The enemy tried to use a closed door to trigger a massive financial and emotional collapse, but I used that exact same closed door to push you into the greatest spiritual awakening of your life. Do you feel the profound difference in your spirit right now, compared to when you first started listening? The heavy iron chains of panic are completely gone. The desperate need to prove your worth to a broken society has been entirely washed away. You are standing on solid rock now, safe from the disaster that tried to claim your soul. Let your physical body completely relax. Release the tight grip you have on your jaw. Unclench your tired hands. Let your heavy shoulders sink deep into the mattress. You have fought a very brave battle today, but the fight is officially over for tonight. I am taking the heavy shift. I will stay awake and fiercely watch over your life, your family, and your future while you rest. You do not need to figure out step 2, step 3, or step 4 tonight. I only need you to trust me with step 1. And step 1 is simply closing your eyes and going to sleep. I have already dispatched the exact resources, the right people, and the perfect opportunities to meet you precisely where you will be tomorrow. Do not let the enemy steal this profound peace when your alarm clock rings in the morning. When you wake up, do not immediately reach for your phone to check your messages or look at your bank account. Reach for me first. Start your morning by thanking me for the unseen battles I won for you while you were sleeping. Walk into your new day with the quiet, unshakable confidence of a child who knows their heavenly Father owns absolutely everything. If you truly receive this massive deliverance tonight, if you are finally ready to let go of the steering wheel and let me drive, simply confess it into the atmosphere. You can whisper a quiet amen right where you are, or you can write it down below this message as a permanent digital stone of remembrance. A bold declaration to the enemy that his grip on your mind is permanently broken. Breathe in my infinite grace. Breathe out all of your human fear. You are fully known, you are fiercely protected, and you are deeply loved by the Creator of the entire universe. The disaster has been completely canceled. The brand new foundation has been firmly laid. Tomorrow morning, you will wake up with a completely fresh mind, a restored spirit, and a brilliant new divine strategy. But for now, my beautiful beloved child, just rest. Close your eyes and sleep in heavenly peace, knowing beyond any shadow of a doubt that the God of the universe is holding your entire world securely in His hands.